They say every empire eventually falls. But what happens when that empire is built from plastic bricks? This is the story of trust, betrayal, and $200,000 worth of lies. A story where childhood nostalgia became a weapon and where one man's greed nearly destroyed an entire community. Welcome to Edge of Entertainment. I'm your host, and today we're diving deep into one of the most shocking scandals in the LEGO reseller world. A scandal that exposed the dark underbelly of a hobby millions thought was innocent. This is Reckless Ben versus Bricks and Minifigs. And by the end of this video, you'll never look at your childhood toys the same way again. But first, we need to go back to where it all began. To understand this story, you need to understand the world of LEGO reselling. And at the center of that world, a seemingly perfect partnership, Bricks and Minifigs. If you're not familiar, they're a franchise of stores across North America specializing in buying and selling used LEGO sets. Think of them as the GameStop of the LEGO world. Parents bring in their kids' old collections. Collectors hunt for rare minifigures. Everyone wins, or so it seemed. Enter Ben, known online as Reckless Ben, a charismatic LEGO YouTuber and reseller who built his brand on transparency, hustle, and knowing the market inside and out. Ben wasn't just another collector. He was an entrepreneur, an educator, a trusted voice in the community. With over 50,000 subscribers, Ben's channel showed people how to profit from LEGO. Haul videos, buying guides, market analysis. He was living the dream, turning a childhood passion into a legitimate business. And then, he partnered with Bricks and Minifigs. It made perfect sense. Ben needed inventory. Bricks and Minifigs needed someone who understood the market. They began working together in early 2022, with Ben purchasing massive quantities of LEGO from multiple franchise locations. Thousands of pounds of plastic bricks, rare sets, exclusive minifigures. But what started as a business relationship would end in accusations of fraud, manipulation, and a $250,000 legal nightmare. Because Ben was about to discover something that would change everything. Summer 2023. Ben is sorting through his latest purchase from a Bricks and Minifigs location. Hundreds of sets, thousands of pieces. Business as usual. Except, something's wrong. The numbers aren't adding up. Sets he paid premium prices for, they're incomplete. Minifigures that should be there, missing. And then he finds it. Evidence that some of the inventory he'd purchased had been cherry-picked. For those unfamiliar with the term, cherry-picking in the LEGO world is exactly what it sounds like. Someone goes through collections and removes the most valuable pieces before selling the rest. It's like buying a complete puzzle, only to find out someone already took out all the corner pieces and sold them separately for profit. But this wasn't just a few missing pieces. As Ben dug deeper, he discovered a pattern. Multiple purchases, multiple locations, all with the same problem. High-value items systematically removed, prices inflated, descriptions falsified. Ben had been scammed, repeatedly, and the total amount? Over $200,000. But here's where the story gets even darker. Because when Ben started asking questions, when he started demanding answers from Bricks and Minifigs corporate, he hit a wall. Phone calls went unreturned. Emails were ignored. The franchise owners he'd worked with suddenly claimed they had no knowledge of any issues. Ben was being stonewalled. And that's when he realized, this wasn't an accident. This wasn't a simple mistake. This was orchestrated. Someone at Bricks and Minifigs, or multiple someones, had been running a scheme. Selling Ben bulk inventory at premium prices while secretly removing the most valuable components. They'd been banking on the sheer volume of bricks, making it impossible to notice. They didn't count on Ben's attention to detail. But Ben wasn't going to stay quiet. In October 2023, he uploaded a video that would send shockwaves through the entire LEGO community. The title? I was scammed out of $200,000 by Bricks and Minifigs, my story. And just like that, the war began. The video went viral instantly. Within 24 hours, it had hundreds of thousands of views. The comments section exploded with people sharing their own suspicious experiences with various Bricks and Minifigs locations. Stories of incomplete sets, overpriced inventory, missing rare pieces. What Ben thought might be an isolated incident was actually systemic. The LEGO community was in chaos. But Bricks and Minifigs wasn't going down without a fight. Within days, they released a statement denying all allegations. They claimed Ben's accusations were baseless, that he was a disgruntled customer, and that they operated with complete integrity. They also did something else, something that made the situation even more explosive. They threatened legal action, cease and desist letters, defamation claims, Bricks and Minifigs wasn't just defending their reputation, they were going on the offensive. Their message was clear: back down or face the consequences. But Ben didn't back down. Instead, he doubled down. He released follow-up videos with receipts, spreadsheets showing the discrepancies, photos of incomplete sets, emails proving he'd tried to resolve things privately before going public. The evidence was damning. And then, the witnesses started coming forward. Former employees, other resellers, even franchise owners who admitted they'd seen questionable practices but were too afraid to speak up. One former employee dropped a bombshell in a Reddit AMA, claiming that cherry-picking customer inventory was common practice at their location, and that corporate knew about it but looked the other way. The walls were closing in. But here's what made this scandal truly explosive. This wasn't just about money. This was about trust. The LEGO community, collectors, resellers, parents, kids, they trusted Bricks and Minifigs with their memories, their childhood nostalgia, their investments. And that trust had been weaponized for profit. Social media erupted. The hashtag Bricks and Minifigs scandal trended on Twitter. Major LEGO YouTubers started covering the story. News outlets picked it up. What started as one man's complaint had become a full-blown industry crisis. Bricks and Minifigs franchise locations started reporting drops in customers. Some stores put out their own statements, distancing themselves from corporate. Others quietly closed. The brand was hemorrhaging credibility by the hour. And throughout it all, Ben kept posting, kept documenting, kept fighting. But the question everyone wanted answered was simple. Would there be justice? Or would this be another case of a corporation burying an individual under legal fees and public relations spin? The answer would surprise everyone. December 2023. 3 months after Ben's initial video, Bricks and Minifigs made an announcement that shocked the community. They were launching an internal investigation. On the surface, it seemed like corporate was finally taking things seriously. But those paying attention noticed something crucial. The statement didn't admit wrongdoing. It didn't apologize to Ben. It was damage control masquerading as accountability. But the investigation did reveal something important. Several franchise locations had been operating outside of corporate guidelines. Whether corporate had known and turned a blind eye, or whether this was truly rogue operators, remains disputed to this day. What wasn't disputed? Multiple employees were quietly let go. Several franchise licenses were mutually terminated. The purge had begun. Meanwhile, Ben's legal battle was heating up. While Bricks and Minifigs had threatened lawsuits, Ben countered with his own legal team. He wasn't just fighting for his money anymore. He was fighting for every collector who'd ever been taken advantage of. The case drew attention from consumer protection advocates. Legal analysts noted that if Ben could prove systematic fraud, this could open the door for class action lawsuits from other affected customers. The stakes couldn't be higher. In February 2024, a settlement was quietly reached. The terms? Sealed under NDA. But sources close to the situation revealed that Ben received a substantial payment, though likely not the full $200,000 he claimed to have lost. Bricks and Minifigs never admitted fault. Ben was prohibited from discussing specific details of the settlement. To the public, it looked like a draw, but the real fallout wasn't measured in dollars. It was measured in destroyed reputations. Several Bricks and Minifigs locations permanently closed. The franchise, once a beloved fixture in the LEGO community, became synonymous with scandal. Their online presence shrank. Their customer base dwindled. As for Ben, his channel exploded. He gained over 100,000 new subscribers. People didn't just see him as a LEGO reseller anymore. They saw him as a whistleblower, a David who stood up to Goliath. But at what cost? In interviews after the settlement, Ben admitted the toll it had taken. The stress, the legal fees, the threats, the sleepless nights wondering if he'd lose everything. "I didn't do this for fame," he said in a podcast appearance. "I did this because if I stayed silent, they'd just do it to someone else." So what did we learn from the reckless Ben versus Bricks and Minifigs scandal? First, no industry is immune to corruption, even one built on childhood nostalgia and colorful plastic bricks. Where there's money, there's always someone willing to exploit trust for profit. Second, transparency matters. Ben's decision to document everything, to keep receipts, to build his case publicly, that's what made the difference. Without evidence, it would have been his word against the corporations. Third, and perhaps most importantly, communities have power. The LEGO community rallied around Ben. They amplified his story. They shared their own experiences. They refused to let this be swept under the rug. That collective action forced change. But here's the uncomfortable truth this scandal exposed. How many other bins are out there? How many people got scammed and just accepted it? How many saw discrepancies but didn't have the platform, the resources, or the courage to fight back? The bricks and minifigs scandal wasn't an isolated incident. It was a symptom of a larger problem in reseller culture. The Wild West mentality, the lack of regulation, the assumption that because we're dealing with toys, the stakes are somehow lower. But $200,000 isn't toys. It's someone's livelihood, someone's dreams, someone's trust, weaponized and sold back to them at a premium. Today, bricks and minifigs still operates, though significantly scaled back. Ben continues to create content, now with a reputation as someone who won't be silenced. And the Lego reseller community? They're more cautious, more skeptical, more willing to demand accountability. Because at the end of the day, this wasn't really about Lego bricks at all. It was about what those bricks represented: trust, nostalgia, and the belief that some things in this world are still pure, still innocent. Reckless Ben's fight reminded us that nothing is sacred when profit is on the line. But it also reminded us that one voice, armed with truth and evidence, can still make a difference, even against an empire built from plastic bricks. If this story shocked you, you're not alone. Drop a comment below with your thoughts. Have you ever been scammed by a trusted seller? Let us know. And if you want more deep dives into the scandals the internet doesn't want you to know about, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. Because here at Edge of Entertainment, we don't just report the drama, we expose the truth. Until next time, dramatic Lego build/destruction B-roll, receipts, and documentation overlays. Social media screenshots, cleared for use. News article headlines. Animated graphics showing timeline. Stock footage of courtrooms. Money. Handshakes gone wrong. Dark cinematic documentary style. Tension building throughout. Emotional beats during betrayal revelations. Triumphant during community rallying moments. Reflective during lesson section. Quick cuts during intense moments. Slower, more deliberate during explanations. Build tension through Acts 2 to 3. Release in Act 4. Reflective resolution in Act 5 to 0:45. But first, we need to go back. 2:30, because Ben was about to discover something. 4:45. And just like that, the war began. 7 o'clock. The answer would surprise everyone. 9 o'clock, but at what cost? Links to related scandal videos, subscribe animation, community poll about trust in reseller markets. Total word count *2, for 100 words estimated runtime *10 to 11 minutes at documentary pacing.